All right, we're ready to start Unit 5. Unit 5 is one of the bigger units in this semester. You've seen some of it before, but it's mostly about graphing lines in the XY plane, slope, and that sort of thing. Um, so, yeah, it's a long unit, and there are some parts of it that are difficult, but I'd say three-fourths of it is not too bad. So there's a couple parts towards the end that are a little difficult, but I think you'll find most of the units, yeah, maybe not as difficult as some of the units we've done in the past. But anyway, let's look at the your new packet, Unit 5, on page 1. Let's look at page 1. And page 1 just has to do with slope. What does slope mean, and how do you find slope from a graph? So that is what the first part of Unit 5 is about. It's about slope. What does it mean, and how do you find slope from a graph? Well, first of all, this phrase here, rate of change, what is that? Rate of change is how fast one thing changes with respect to another. And one example of that is miles per gallon. That's an example. So the more gallons you use, the more miles you'll go. Another one is how much is your pay per hour. Pay per hour, that's another rate of change. The more hours you work, the higher your pay, the more you're going to get paid. And rate of change always has the word per in it, but it's how fast one thing changes with respect to another. On a linear graph, means it's a line. This is called the slope. It's called the slope of the line. Slope, another phrase for slope is rate of change. Rate of change just means slope. How fast is one thing changing with respect to another? Another example is when you're growing. How much do you grow in a year? That's another example of rate of change. Now, slope is written as a ratio. That's a fancy word of saying fraction of the vertical change. That's called rise, to the horizontal change, which is called run. You may have seen that before. And this remains the same. It doesn't matter which 2 points you pick. So if you pick these 2 points, you'll get a slope. If you pick these 2 points, you'll get a slope. Or if you pick these 2 points, you'll get the same slope. It doesn't matter which 2 points you pick, you'll always get the same answer. And this, I told you ratio means a fraction, and that's going to be the first word here in this next blank. Slope is written as a fraction because that's what a ratio is. It's written as a fraction in lowest terms. That means it's reduced. Okay. And the variable for slope is m. I never knew exactly why the letter for slope is m, but I think one way you can think of it is slope means you're moving from one point to another. You're moving from this point to this point, or this point to this point. So you can think of m as meaning you're moving from one point to another on the slope. That's the only reason I can come up with. I don't know any other reason. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Now, the types of slope, okay, you could be going uphill like this. That's uphill. So that would be like the more hours you work, the more money you make. That's a positive slope because you're going uphill. Positive means you're going uphill. Now, if you're going downhill, that means you're getting less as time goes on. That's a negative slope. Okay, negative slope usually means you're losing something. An example of that, the more you drive your car, the less gas you have in your tank. And that will be a negative slope because you're losing gas the more you drive. Another type of slope is if you have no change at all, and that's horizontal. So it doesn't matter how much you would never change. So there's no change at all. That would be zero slope. That's a slope of zero. And here, the last type, if it goes up and down, that's vertical. That's called an undefined slope. You'll see why later. I'm going to write zero. That's horizontal. And vertical, that's undefined. This is vertical. Vertical has an undefined slope. Okay, now on a graph, how do you find slope on a graph? It's simply rise over run. Or another way to say it, it's change in y over change in x. Now, a lot of you are going to take chemistry later, in like when you're next year, the year after. They in chemistry they have another way to write change in. It's called delta. It's a little triangle. It's called delta. All right. That's just a short way of writing change in y over change in x. The triangle means change in. That triangle is pronounced delta. It's a Greek letter in the alphabet, but it just means change in. So when you take chemistry, if you see this, that means change in temperature. If you see this, that means change in volume. If you see this, that's change in pressure. The triangle means changing. Now, how do you find slope from a graph? Well, first, you need to locate 2 points on the graph. Locate 2 points. It doesn't matter what 2 points you pick. But let's see. All right, they have this one. They have them labeled for me. There's one right here, and there's one right here. So locate 2 points. Now, start with the point on the left. Start with the point on the left. That means you're going to start with this one. And then count how many you go up. First, go up or down, depending on whether it's a positive or negative slope. Then count how many you go over. So let's start here. How many do I count up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I go up 7 and I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 7 over 4 is my slope. And I should have written m equals. Okay. Now, number 2, locate 2 points on the graph. They located them for me, but sometimes you might have to locate them yourself. Start with the point on the left. All right. Start with the point on the left. Now, since this is downhill, you're going to go down first. You always do the vertical first. So we're going to go down. How many do you have to count? 1, 2, 3. That's down 3. So you put -3. Now, how many you go over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's down 3 over 9. You can reduce that. That reduces to -1/3. Now, number three, we've got 2 points right here. Start with the point on the left. How many do you go up? You don't go up at all. So the vertical, the change in y, the rise, would be 0. How many do you go over? 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 0 over 4. 0 over 4 reduces to 0. And that's horizontal. And we knew that from up here, when you have a horizontal line, the slope is going to be 0. Now, number 4, I have 2 points. Neither one of them is further to the left. So it doesn't matter which one you pick first. I'll pick this one. How many do you go up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go up 5, but you don't go over any. So it's 5 over 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. All right, so that slope is undefined. All right, let's just do one more, just in case that's a little confusing. Let's go to page 2, and let's just do one of these. All right, so I'm going to pick, let's just do number 8. All right, number 8. I locate 2 points. All right, so pick the one that's furthest to the left. Pick this one. And you notice I have to go downhill. So you count down first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you go down, that's -4. And then go over 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4 over 4. That reduces to -1. And that's a negative slope because it's going downhill.